Hey guys, Gary with Lacrosse, and today I'm going to do a tutorial on a Maryland flag Black Ops themed head. I've already dyed the head gray. I got the color that I wanted. The color what I used was a RIT dye, and it was a pearl gray. The pearl gray was actually very light, so I had to add coloring to it to get it to darken up. If you go to ritdye.com, you can actually go to it. They have the color guide, and it will tell you what colors to mix to get certain colors. What I do is I go through it and I find the color that I want, and I'll cut the mixtures in half. All right, and then I keep a log. I'll have a piece of paper down that I write down what I added for this and what I added for that, and then at the end I'll add it all up and I write that down in a notebook that I have for every color that I've used and how I got that color. So what I use is this huge crab pot that allows me to actually drop a full head into it and lay it down, and I can dye it that way. And it also allows me to dye goalie heads. It's big enough for goalie heads, just not laying down. So what I ended up using was 2 tablespoons of pearl gray, and then I used half a tablespoon of black. All right, now I buy all my dyes in bulk, and what I end up using, I don't hand cut everything. I do is done through a cutting machine. I create the stencil on my computer, and then I put it in and I cut it out. All my vinyl I buy from Vinyl Expressions. So far, they seem to be the cheapest to buy from, and I usually buy 2 colors. I'll buy a roll of black and I'll buy a roll of white. And currently I'm out of my black, so I've been using white for the past couple dyes that I've done. So here's the head. It's a Warrior M80X, and I already went ahead and dyed it the dark gray that I wanted, got the color that I wanted. So when I do the black onto it, it'll have a nice look to it. All right, and I've already gone ahead and I've measured, because this is usually what I do when I dye my heads. There's a lot of companies that do Maryland dyes, and I found what they do is they make the cross so huge that it looks like a line with like little knots on the top and bottom, and I don't like that. And everybody who's bought heads from me or have had me dye heads, they said that they like the way that I've done that better. So I make them to where I can get a full detail of the cross, because if you're going to dye a flag job, you want to try to get the detail of it. So I get my measurement through here, which I've already done, which is 1 inch between the 2 top holes on the scoop. And what I use for that is a very flexible ruler that I've gotten from Office Depot, which is down by me. You can get them from Staples and stuff like that. But this is something that you want. If you don't have one of these, and maybe you got somebody in your house trying to lose weight, then you can use one of them body fat tapes. You can use that also. And so that's what I started out using, and then I bought one of these. It's just easier for me instead of using the body fat tape. All right. So once you get your measurement, you go ahead and you make out your vinyl or your cutting that you want to use. So like I said, here's mine. I've gone ahead and cut them out. I do a lot of them just because you're not always going to get the very first one perfect. So if you don't get it perfect, you got to peel it off, and then you got to do another one. So I generally do between 6 to 10 that I'll cut out and then I'll use. And then if I get the first one the first time or the second one, I'll label on the back what head that I used it for. I'll write it down on a Sharpie on the back of it, so when I go to dye another head with that design, I just go through my little folders and I pick that out, and there it is. It's already done. Once I create my stencil on my computer, I save it. So I save it as, this is the head, this is what it is. And so that way I can go back to it later on. If somebody brings me the same kind of head, want the same kind of dye, I can bring it right back up, I can cut it out and apply it. All right, the way that I apply the vinyl, instead of sitting there trying to pick up every little piece and put it on there, what I use is this transfer tape. You can also buy this by the roll through Vinyl Expressions, or you can get it in the sheets at like any Michaels or arts and crafts store. All right, to me it's very simple. I mean, it's got 1 inch squares on the back, so you figure out what your stencil is going to be, and you can cut it to size. All right, so right now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply the cross to this, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, so now I've got the cross portion added to it. Alright, so when I dye the black, whatever on here is white, it's going to stay the gray, and whatever is not white is going to be black. The next step is going to be to apply the checker pattern. Same setup, I go through, and what I do is I measure in between here to here, and that's how I start to create my checker. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut some out, and then I will start applying that. So I'll be right back with that. Alright guys, so I put the checker on and I started, actually just did the whole thing, did all the checkering, and then I started doing the turtle shell. So there is the checkers that are on there. Down here on the inside you can see I already started to add the turtle shell. These are actually very difficult because of the fact that once you cut them, you have to actually go in and pull out all the little rings that you're not going to need. But I'm going to end up taking this all the way up, all of the turtle shell up into here, all the way up on the inside. I'm not going to put any on the outside, just because of the fact of the head. There's not a whole lot of space and all the curves and everything to it. And I like the in and out look where it kind of looks like a normal head on the outside until you actually see the face portion of it, and then you actually you see the design. But here's the sheet. You can see all the little turtle shell designs, which I've already gone through, picked them out. This is the transfer tape I was telling you about. All right, pretty much once you get everything on, you cut your transfer tape to the size that you want, and you got to really press to get it to adhere to your vinyl. And then once that happens, you can peel it off, and then you can apply it. So I'm gonna finish up with the turtle shells, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I went ahead, did all the turtle shell, put the turtle shell all the way up, did like I wanted, both sides. Generally what happens, you're going to get like an excess that's going to go over the lip. So what I use, I take this razor, and you just kind of real lightly just follow the contour of the head. Alright, so real lightly just go with the contour of the head, give it a couple little small strokes to it, and it'll cut right through it. So like I said, if you guys are going to get into this, I would definitely suggest going to like a hobby shop, invest in a good set of like blades. Just be very careful. I mean, razors are sharp. You don't want to cut yourself. You want to invest yourself into like a mask. You can get that from like Lowe's, even like little paper masks. That's what I usually use when I'm using all my chemicals, is I'll put on a little paper mask so I'm not really actually inhaling everything. But after I did the turtle shell, I decided, I'm not keeping this head. I mean, I'm not going to sell it. It's a used head, and I don't like selling used heads, just because of whatever's been done with it. And the store down here that carries my mesh, and they always send people to me to string heads up and all that stuff. They've been asking me for a while to bring in some heads to display so they can try to get me some more business down here. So this head's going to them, and then I was looking at it, and I was like, you know what, so let me help out with my advertising. And I ended up putting on the back Grunt Lacrosse. I mean, it's in reverse, but it's in a stencil for a font, which is the same stenciling, the font that I use when I label all my mesh and I send it out and stuff. It's a military style look to it. When you go through basic, and, I went through a long time ago. When you go through basic, you tell them your name and your social, and they stamp it out, and they hand you this piece of cardboard, and then you get a spray can, you go and you spray all your bags, and that's the font that it looks like. It's just a stenciling font. So now I'm going to go and take a blow dryer to all this. That's the next step. Is you want to hit it with a hair dryer. You guys see in my other videos, I don't have hair, but my wife does. So she's got a hair dryer, and that's what I use. I use her hair dryer. She gets mad sometimes about it, but oh well. But you want to heat up all the vinyl. And once you heat them up, you want to just like really press it on. Don't try to slide around, just press. And when you're doing that, you're heating it up so you can get all the adhesive on that vinyl to attach itself to the plastic. Alright, so you get it nice and hot, and you just press it on, get the whole thing pressed on, and that's going to help you prevent the bleed when you go to dye a head. Because water, if it wants to go somewhere, it's going to find a way. So that's one of the big challenges when you're dyeing heads, is trying to prevent bleed. That's where the masking comes into play. And later on, I'll do a tutorial on the masking. I got a couple of heads that are going to be coming in where it's going to require me to do a lot of masking, and I'll end up doing that. So I already got the water upstairs boiling, so I'm going to go hit this with the hair dryer, and then I'll be right back, and I'll show it to you after it's dyed, and then I'll go through and pull all the vinyl off. Alright, be right back. Alright guys, so went ahead, dyed it, took all the vinyl off, and this is what it comes out to. It's the Maryland Black Ops themed head. Like I said, it's based off of the University of Maryland football uniform that they came out with, one of the ones they came out with of the 3 this year. Like I said, they came out with the Black Pride, and they came out with the White Ops, and then they came out with the Black Ops one for the Florida State game. So it turned out real well, turned out real nice. Even got the name on the back. So hope you guys liked the video. Guys, like I said, this is my first tutorial video, so hopefully It turned out well, and as I do more, hopefully they'll get a little bit better. So, like I said, hope you guys like the die, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you haven't, check out my Facebook page, and send me an email. All right, thanks for watching.